Debate 411 is proudly brought to you by Mount Kenya University School of Journalism. Success in journalism starts here. Enroll for Master of Arts in Communication and Mass Media, Bachelor of Arts in Mass Media and Communication, Diploma in Journalism. Take advantage of fees reduction and modularized programs in line with Rwanda National Qualification Framework. Call 0787 05 2363 or 0788 979113 or 0728 551199 or visit our website www.mku.ac.ke.
And welcome to Debate 411. Thank you so much for making time for the program. My name, as always, is Eugene Anangwe. Thank you so much once again for being a part of this particular program. To be a part of any of our conversations, it's very simple. All you need to do, if you have a phone, you've loaded your airtime, and you have your bundles, you can just tweet. And the hashtag is Debate 411. And of course, you can tweet me directly also at Eugene Anangwe. If you're on Facebook, it's Eugene Anangwe. We'll be going through some of your feedback in the course of the program. Now, today we're talking about the issue of housing. We've tackled that topic here on this program, but we did not have representatives from RSSB and the Rwanda Housing Authority. Today, they are represented in the program. If you have any questions, you can as well ask them, or any suggestions to the housing debate in Rwanda. Talk to us, and that is the hashtag for the day, Housing Debate RW. Let me introduce our panelists right here with us. Is none other than Didier, who is the DG of Rwanda Housing Authority. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Eugene.
And of course, we have none other than Jonathan, who is the MD RSSB. Thank you for being on the program.
Thank you.
And of course, we have Charles Haber, MD Century Real Estate. Thank you for being on the program again.
Pleasure is mine, and Happy New Year, Eugene.
Thank you so much. Happy New Year. Is it still new?
Yes, it's always
debatable,
new.
always new until January 31st?
Yes. That's when the Christmas trees come down.
Are removed.
Yes.
Right. So also with us is an expert on urbanization and urban planning, none other than Dr. Bazima. Thank you for being with us on the program.
Most welcome.
The last time, Dr. Bazima, you were here on this program on this topic, you said you were worried based on the fact that we were looking at the issue of affordability of the housing in Rwanda and the issues to do with the cost. And you felt worried with the trend that we have today in terms of availability and the affordability of these houses. Today we have key people, other players in this particular conversation. Are you still sharing the same thoughts?
I think in many ways, yes.
Mm-hmm.
For two simple reasons. Housing is becoming quite available. Mm-hmm. But is housing affordable? And if not affordable, to what section of the society? What are the options? Mm-hmm. What are the avenues on making it available and affordable for the most of the citizens? That's my concern.
That is your concern. Before we bring Didier and Jonathan on board, Haba, you still hold the same thoughts that you had the last time we sat here on this particular topic about affordability and availability of housing in Rwanda?
I think the last time we were discussing this, two things have changed. Mm-hmm. One is that REG is not on board. So, we can't have built houses without power. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So the whole city is in a blackout. Mm-hmm. The only place where there is power is TVR Studios. Mm-hmm. And it's unfortunate that there are very, very many people out there who are not able to watch the show. I'm hoping that probably there is power out on the streets. But there's another thing that I'm hoping that we'll be able to pick up from especially Didier. I'm not too sure about Jonathan and RSSB, but and it's the issue of government involvement. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's the most critical thing. When we were having this debate last time, a few months ago, Dr. Peter and myself were of the same opinion, that government has no option but to be directly involved
in the housing issue.
Yes.
Now, Didier, when you sit in your desk, in your capacity as the MD or the DG rather of Rwanda Housing Authority, the concerns that Dr. Peter raises and Charles raises, are these things common to you in terms of the things that you receive, in terms of concerns? Do you even agree with them that there is a problem when it comes to affordability of housing in Rwanda?
Actually, I agree with them, and that's why we have Rwanda Housing Authority to address those concerns. Number one, affordability. How do you define affordability? Affordability is defined as someone being able to have housing. It might be owning or renting using a third of his income, his or her income. So monthly income, year income, depending when he gets an income. So if I earn 100,000, so I should be able to either pay my rent using 30,000 or less, or paying my mortgage using that. So that's how affordability is calculated. So I have my affordability, you have yours, and so on and so forth.
So it wouldn't matter how the
So
low
now
earners
we now
categorize
then we
themselves
start
in this?
categorizing people. So we have low income earners, medium, and high. So now the debate comes in when we look at the very big percentage of people who are people who earns less than 150,000 a month. So we have a very big
number
of those people.
Yes.
Because the following category is can afford to go to bank with some subsidies, and another following category which is above 600,000. Those people can get mortgages. There is also another problem we'll have to discuss here is the interest rate. So now, much as I agree with them, now is how do we then provide affordable housing for those people? That's the question. Now, there are three things. One is the building material. Second is the land. And third is the financing. Because if I'm a developer and I get money from the bank charges me as a developer 18, 17, 19% interest. Then when I sell that house to you, Eugene, you go to the bank because you don't have the cash already. You go to the bank. The bank will charge you again 16, 15, 17%.
And we still have the Rwanda Housing Authority when this is still happening.
Yes, that's what I'm going to address.
How are you addressing it?
So, as of recent, last year, that's when we had our land, housing policy. I'm still having the land in mind because I spent so much time there.
In the land, yes.
In the land. So the new policy, and we have worked out some of the regulatory framework. That comes to the question he asked, how government is to be involved. Now, as last year, in November, we had the Prime Minister's instruction that set up guidelines and how support is given by government to an investor who comes to invest in affordable housing by providing infrastructure. And that's what we have done with RSSB. RSSB is going to do a first bunch of housing, affordable, for a certain group, and government is providing infrastructure for such projects.
I'll be bringing you back in on this, but feel free to jump in and interject in anywhere you feel like. But it's important to pick from the point that he made concerning the fact that what tenants have to go through vis-a-vis the availability of his institution, like almost a regulator kind of a thing or a watchdog kind of a thing. Do you have a feeling of the Rwanda Housing Authority as an institution being toothless?
I need to be educated about the do's and don'ts and their limits, the limits of the Rwanda Housing Authority. I did raise this thing at the show last week about affordability is not purely about affordable to buy. And I'm glad that we speak the same language, Didier. It should even be from the onset affordable to rent, if it's going to be affordable. And I want to be educated by Didier on this, on where Rwanda Housing Authority starts and stops. My understanding is that they are a regulatory and policy institution. My advocacy is that it should be beyond that to actually be a policing institution, a watchdog, but even much further on. Because in the absence of a building society that is owned by government or a construction company that is wholly owned by government, I want to see a Rwanda Housing Authority that can actually build houses.
Can you?
Yes.
Actually, that's what we are trying to see. Because building society is something we are thinking about.
So as we speak today, you
Yeah.
can't do those things. Those are no-go zones for
As
you.
we speak today, we have acquired land. And as we speak today, as a government institution, we are now looking for investors to partner in PPP to develop housing.
So is that because you have a financial limitation or a legal limitation?
No. It's
because
not,
I think that's the
it's
issue.
Not. It's
yes.
not. It's a line that the government has taken, that instead of taking the whole resources going into the housing, when there are some investors who are there who can do that, government can provide infrastructure to arrange the burden of the development, and then this can be a partnership. It's not only with the housing.
Eugene, I think my question is not being answered. Is it because it is a government decision that you partner, or it's because you have legal limitations within what you can
that cannot
do,
allow you
that
to
you cannot allow you to actually build?
No,
build yourself.
actually,
Yeah.
that's not the case. We can build.
You can build.
Yes, and
Yes.
for instance, to tell you the case, in a rural area we are building, by the way.
Bring those houses to Kigali, Chief.
So in a rural area, there we have to be careful, because otherwise, if their housing is not only for the city of Kigali,
Yes.
it has to go to secondary city. We have to do also planned rural settlement. So there is no conflict in a legal framework. The legal framework allows us
you to
so
build.
now the
That is
approach
the
we have
best news
taken.
I've had in 2016.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
good then.
Jonathan, for you, RSSB has also come under fire but from a cross-section of people, because some complain that you're using their contributions to construct houses which they themselves that are contributing and toiling cannot afford.
Well, I've heard those complaints, but it is really to say that they cannot afford. Okay, I can understand, because the big population, or the biggest percentage, probably they find them very expensive. However, as Didier mentioned, we have come into agreement with some government institutions where we can construct affordable houses, where the government will be providing infrastructure. And then from there, we also make sure that the kind of materials we are using, they are locally made, or we try to make sure that we use the not, I was going to say the cheap, they are not cheap per se, but they are materials which can be afforded from here.
So they reduce the cost of making these houses.
So
but before you go on,
yes.
sorry to cut you short, but using the words of Charles Harbour here, school me
Yes.
on this fact that someone contributes and feels like whatever their contributions is being used for, they can't afford it, because you say you agree with some of them that say that. How can that be possible?
That's why I was saying that we are considering, so far the investment that we have been doing, they seem to be of high end, where the houses we have been building, they are more commercial. Even those which are residential have been from the high end, but we are coming down to see how we can make sure that we get out of Kigali. We are acquiring some other land outside Kigali, but also we are trying to see how we can make sure that we get other potential investors in a public-private partnership, whereby at least they can bring their technologies. And already we have few individuals who are very much interested, and we want to see how we can borrow from their technology or their expertise
to save the situation.
Sure.
You know, Eugene,
yes.
I don't want to be in Jonathan's shoes.
Yes.
Because RSSB, in my opinion,
Yes.
has done quite a few things in the affordable housing sector and delivered. And I'll give a few examples. The most recent being Batsi in the housing project that was done probably about 2007, 2008, I stand to be corrected. Fantastic idea. Right location, probably now things are changing a little bit in terms of that area, because from the time that development was done, you guys went in the middle of nowhere, did a low-end development, and it has raised the profile of that area.
Sure.
How I wish many of those could have been done, then you'd not be getting the stick that this man is giving you. The point I'm raising is, sorry, 1 second. The point I'm raising is, Jonathan, you guys are not doing a bad job. The expensive buildings that you're building and the expensive residentials that you're selling are not necessarily bad for the economy. It is just that the proceeds of those expensive ventures you go into need to be seen by the people. And I think that's where the missing